You are not the only one that grew up without a father being in your life. You are not the only one that had to figure out who you are, how to work with yourself, how to work with your emotions, how to identify everything that you're dealing with. You are not the only one, father lives. Because I am a product of being raised by a single mom. My dad was not in my life. So I had to learn everything from my mama. Not only just my mama, just my surroundings, my environment. My father was not in my life. There was father figures, but it wasn't consistent father figures that I had to look up to. The person that I really need to look up to was not there. So when I say you're not the only one, trust and believe. I understand where you're coming from, but in life we have to accept what has happened rather than trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together and say this is not fair. This is not fair. Life is not fair, but it's only fair to those that make it fair. Right? For today, for the next 20 minutes, we are going to be speaking about committing to yourself. And when you commit to yourself, you're able to identify more about who you are as an individual than you would have ever thought that you can learn. Learning never ends, but we put the time, the effort, the understanding, the growth, the process, the recognition. We grow into a unique version of ourselves. So for the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about ways to commit to yourself and why it's important for the next rest of your life. For the rest of your life. Why is it important for the rest of your life? Commit to yourself. Commit to yourself. By my dad not being in my life, I didn't understand how important committing to yourself was. I had to learn this through trial, through error, through misunderstanding, through lack of knowledge, lack of belief, lack of realization. Because sometimes as we're committed to ourselves, we don't know what's being committed to. Right? My dad wasn't there to show me what a man was. My dad was not there to show me how to be a good communicator. See, there's a lot that goes into a relationship that we as young men, as people, don't even understand. A lot of times as we're going through life, we try to figure things out as we're experiencing rather than being taught. And that is okay. That is absolutely okay. Because here's what's happening is that we are becoming one with ourselves once we accept the past. As I was growing up, my dad was not in my life. Meaning that I learned everything from my mom. I learned everything from Vetivet. Vetivet taught me so much. And what did she teach me? She teach me how to identify who you are. She taught me how to be independent. She taught me how to work for anything that I want in life. Because she has 8 degrees. I'm sorry. She had 8 degrees, okay? But that doesn't come overnight. All that school, all that trials and error doesn't come easy. The thing that my mama really taught me is to say, whatever you believe in, go all out for it. When we was younger, my mama loves school. She's very smart. She's very intellectual. She's very intelligent with the way she thinks, the way she perceives, the way she communicates with people, right? So as I'm growing up, I'm seeing how she conducts herself. Not only in the household, but in public as well. Now, if y'all grew up in a single parent household, you know your mama didn't play, right? You know your mama didn't play. You know your mama was mean. Your mama was very strict, but she wanted the best for us. She wanted the best for us because she knew what the statistics was in life. Either you're going to be dead in prison or either you're going to be dead or in jail. And that's the thing that my mom was afraid of. She didn't want us going through the system because the system, once you're in the system, you're going to remain in the system. Meaning that as you're doing something bad, your name is everything. If your name get messed up, your name gets some type of reputation on it, it's going to live on your life forever. But see, my mama, she's so resilient. She understood that she has 3 boys that she was raising in Little Rock, Arkansas. Very did a phenomenal job raising us to be independent and to find out who we are. But that didn't come over time. As she's teaching us about ourselves, she's still trying to figure out who she is, right? So not only was she surviving for us and living for us, or creating a life for us 3, she had to do the same thing by herself. But see, here's the thing about resiliency is that when you're against the rope, when you're back against the wall, you have no other option but to keep going, but to keep excelling, to keep trying, to keep failing, to keep putting yourself out there because it's what's happening. A lot of times as we're going through life, we don't understand the dynamics of why the pain is happening. When you commit to yourself, you're not only committed to yourself, you're committed to everybody that's around you. My mama committed to herself to give us the life that we desire, right? She committed to herself. She committed to her school. She committed to the process of showing us this is what an independent person work towards. If you want something, this is what you have to do. You have to get up every single day and be committed to yourself. Once you commit to yourself, you can commit to your work, to your drive, to your goals, to your kids. Why? Because if you don't commit to yourself, nothing's going to come from it. Nothing's going to come from you not committing to yourself. Vet taught me, my mama taught me that commitment takes a lot of belief, time, effort, and understanding. You cannot wake up overnight and be committed when you don't know what you're being committed to. Like I said earlier, my mama have 8 degrees. That's 15 years of school. That's a lot of school. That's a lot of classes. That's a lot of lectures. But what was she doing? What was she doing? She was showing us what it takes to believe in yourself. A lot of times as we commit to ourselves, we don't understand the dynamics of it, the capabilities behind it. Everything that we're doing is not going to be easy. Why? Because we have to commit to the process. Everything that is easy comes easy over time. See, the thing about the journey and the process and understanding that you're not going to be perfect as soon as you start out. When you commit to yourself, you're committed to the journey. You committed to the growth, to the process, to the understanding, to the will, to the trials, the tribulations, to things that will break you down. Lack of commitment shows that you don't have belief in yourself. Being committed demonstrates how much faith you have amongst you. But it takes time. It takes awareness. It really takes identification to say, I'm pursuing something. I know what I'm pursuing because I'm committed to figuring this out. If you don't put that time and effort to figure it out, you can't be committed to the process. Like prime example, like this morning, I was speaking to my brother Malik. And he told me, he was like, man, you got to love the gym. He was like, how many times you come to the gym? I said 5 times out the week, 7 days out the week, so 5 out of 7 days. He was like, bro, you gotta love this mug. You gotta love this gym. You gotta love the gym. I was like, nah, man, I don't love it. I hate the gym. I just come up here because I'm creating discipline. I'm being more disciplined within myself. I'm committed to the process. He's like, nah, man, you love it. He was like, you love it because if you didn't love it, you wouldn't be doing this every single day. Commitment takes a lot because I didn't understand where he was coming from. But when he said that and he explained it, I knew I have a feeling for the gym because it get me up every day, get me motivated, get me motivated, get me the day started well. But he identified that. But if I wasn't committed to going five times out the week, 5 days out the week, I wouldn't be able to understand where he was coming from. So I proceeded to ask him, how many times you go out to the gym? He said 7. I said, yeah, you really love it. You really love it. You better than me. But he's committed to the process. He's committed to the journey. He's committed to everything that he's doing. Why? Because there's an end goal towards his success. When you commit to one thing, you're not just committed to yourself. You committed to everything that you come encounter with. Your career, your craft, the gym, your relationships, everything that you are involved with, you're committed to figuring it out because there's no other option. Throwing in the towel is not an option. Why? Because you're not committed to yourself. When you hold on to that towel and try to figure it out, you commit to the process in yourself. That's why it's so vital to understand your commitment goes much further than you expect. The next point that I want to hit on, I hit on this earlier, but you have to have belief that whatever you're doing, whatever you're believing in, is going to work. Have belief. In the Bible, it says faith without works is dead. A lot of times as we're doing things, we just want to believe it's going to be okay. God does not work like that. God does not put us in situations that He know that we can't handle. But we don't recognize that because we're so against the journey. We're so against the process of understanding. We want overnight success. We want instant gratification rather than delayed gratification. Here's the thing about having belief is that it gives you the understanding of why belief is important. When I was playing football, we got up every day. Well, I'm gonna speak high school football. From 9th grade all the way up to my 12th grade, we got up every day and practiced and worked out and watched film and conditioned, ran a lot, and understood what the game had to offer. But see, during off season, that's when the players are made. See, a lot of times people don't understand the dynamics of sports because what you're watching today is all the work that went into this behind the scene, right? So after the season, January come back to school. Now we're in off season. As we're in off season, we have to prepare our bodies for August. So there's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It's 8 months. 8 months of doing the same thing every single day. My 11th grade year, that's when our team built a bigger connection with each other. Because we're practicing every day. We're watching film every day. We're together every day, minus Saturday and Sunday, and breaks, spring breaks, not even summer breaks. We was together during summer. But what is this doing? Every single person that was on this team was committed to the process, committed to the journey, committed to perfecting their craft. A lot of times as we're playing sports, we have to get our body, our mind in shape, meaning that we have to work out every day. There was days where I didn't want to work out. There was days where I didn't want to practice. There was days where I didn't want to run. There was days where I did want to show up. But if I didn't show up, I wasn't committed to myself, nor was I committed to my team. Having belief is understanding whatever we're doing today is going to pay off. Whatever we was doing in January is going to pay off in August. My 11th grade year was phenomenal. Why? Because we had a bond that was so tight, it can be broken. My 11th grade year, we went 3-7. We went 3-7. We won 3 games, we lost 7 games. But every day, day after day, practice after practice, game after game, we was practicing our craft because there was no other option. Either you win some, you lose some, but you have to put in that work behind the scenes in order to learn from your mistakes. A lot of times you can't get the result that you're looking for. That is okay. That is absolutely okay. Sometimes you're meant to lose in order to grow. Sometimes as you're growing, you're winning because you're learning a new identity of yourself. My 11th grade was so vital. My 11th grade year was so vital because it showed me what a family was. Remember, I told you, January, we're practicing day in and day out, watching film of us and the previous day, watching film, we're practicing, we're lifting weights, we're running, we're getting lectured, we're getting taught, and we have to go to school, and we have to go to class. But every single body that was on that team was committed. It was 100 players on that team my 11th grade year, and everybody was committed. Everybody was committed. Only 11 players can play on the field on each side of the ball. Each offense, defense, kickoff, special teams, kick return, etc. There's only 11 players that can play on the team. 11 players that can play on the team. But you got different positions and different plays. If you're not working on yourself when the time you need to back in January, when August comes, you're not going to be ready. A lot of players was not ready. Well, correction, I'm sorry. We were ready, but we just didn't execute the way we needed to execute. How can I say that? Because we was committed in January. We was committed back in the beginning of when back 8 months ago before the football season even started. We was committed to getting better and to doing it every day. When you commit, you're not just committing to yourself. You're committing to everybody that's around you. Remember, like I said, Betty Beth showed us what it takes to be independent and to have belief amongst yourself. But as you get older, you forget the things that you learned them while you was growing up. If you don't commit, you're not going to commit to anything. If you don't have belief, you're not going to be able to have faith along your journey. The next thing we're going to speak about is being persistent. It's being persistent. Why is this a factor? Being persistent ties into committing to yourself and having belief, because if you give up on the second day, you will never learn what the fourth and fifth and sixth, seventh, eighth day has to offer. See, while playing football in high school, my 11th to 12th grade year, quitting was not an option. I'm sorry, my 9th through 12th grade year. 10th grade year, I was thinking about quitting. I was thinking about quitting because I wasn't persistent. My 10th grade year, I played. I didn't play on Friday where everybody else came out. I only played on JV games, on junior varsity games where the younger players get to play and have a chance of opportunity. I wasn't persistent with the process. I wasn't persistent with the getting better every day because I didn't understand. I was in a position to where I was uncomfortable. The position I was playing, it was a nickelback. It wasn't linebacker. It was a back to where I had to play coverage. I had to cover fast people. I had to cover fast people, but I knew I wasn't that fast. I'm fast right there, but when I had to backpedal and then turn around, I'm not that fast. So my 10th grade year was difficult for me. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was easy. It was difficult for me because I couldn't get nothing right. It was so hard because every time I came onto the field, my coach is yelling at me to myself, Hump, make a play. Hump, fix your assignment. Hump, fix your feet. Hump, what the mess? I'm constantly getting bashed for the mistakes I'm making. I wasn't committed to the journey because I understand what I was being committed to, which caused me to make mistakes, which caused me to get yelled at, which caused me to not play on Fridays. All the mistakes that I made was because of me, because I wasn't committed to the journey. It was because of me, because I didn't understand what I was committing to. I was uncomfortable, so I didn't feel the need to commit. As soon as I start to learn and be exposed to what a great player is, my mind started to change. I started to understand what commitment looked like. Notice what I just said. I started to see what commitment looked like. Malcolm Williams and Andrew Allen showed me what it takes to be committed. You have to show up every single day. Mind you, I'm in the 10th grade. Malcolm and Andrew was in the 12th. So I'm able to see somebody older than me pursue something that they love, pursue something that they understand, pursue something that's in their heart. What was in their heart? Being committed to the journey, being committed to themselves, being committed to the team. But I didn't understand this in the 10th grade because it was something that I had to walk into rather than run into. Remember, my dad was not in my life to show me that a man's supposed to be persistent along the journey. My dad was not in my life. That's not an excuse. That is not no excuse. Everything is a timing thing. Everything appears in the time that it needs to appear. But if you're not ready for it, you're gonna miss it. My 10th grade year, I missed the lesson. I wasn't ready to accept the lesson that was given to me. What did it do? It made me not play varsity. It made me not play on Friday nights. Why? Because if somebody's consecutively messing up, why should they get the chance, the opportunity to play on the big stage? In my case, it was Friday was the big stage. But I wanted to play because that's when everybody was coming out. I didn't even work towards it. I didn't even put the work behind the scenes like I needed to in order to have that chance and opportunity. Why? Because I wasn't committed to myself. I wasn't committed to the journey. I wasn't committed to my team. I wasn't committed to growing. I wasn't committed to learning. So it caused me to sit and dwell in what I was going through. As the 10th grade year came to an end, I started to learn what being persistent looked like. I started to feel it. I started to understand it. Here's how I understood it. Remember I told you about Malcolm Williams and Andrew Adams. They taught me what it takes to be committed to the game, to committed to yourself, and committed to everybody that's around you. I started to act different by practicing harder. I started to understand more by studying the plays. I started to implement what I was studying when it was time for me to execute what I've been learning. Why? Because when the door is behind me, I'm the only one in this room. I'm constantly putting that work in. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly figuring out how can I be better than yesterday. Now I started to understand, okay, I'm being committed now. I'm starting to be committed with the journey. I started to become persistent because I started doing it every day. And by me doing it every day, I became persistent with it. I became committed to the journey, and I started to have belief. But mind you, it did not come overnight. It came when I was ready to accept the lesson that was right there in front of me. In life, timing is everything. We can't be successful or have the mindset that we want to have as soon as we get exposed to something new. How do we create this life for ourselves if we don't know how to walk along the path? When you walk along the path, you're able to obtain every lesson that's been thrown at you and to use it when the time is ready. Not only the time, when the place has presented for yourself. But remember, you have to be committed to yourself, to identify belief, and to be persistent. But it doesn't happen overnight. You are going to have to go through the hard times to figure out something's missing. What is missing? As you're identifying what's missing, you're going to look in the mirror and say, I've been the reason this whole time. Why? Because you're able to identify and recognize and walk along the path of recognition. You're no longer looking for an excuse. Oh, coach, it was hard for me to do that. If I would have made an excuse, clearly I made an excuse in my 10th grade year. Coach, I can't do that. You always on my butt, coach. I can't do that. Now I'm beating myself up internally. Now nothing's going to come from it. But when I started to understand being persistent, is that it helped me become patient over time. I can't be a starter overnight. I can't be better overnight. But what I can do is work behind the scenes just a tad bit more. What is this doing? Helping me perfect my craft. In order to be persistent, you have to understand that the work that you're putting in today is going to be for months to come. But you have to be persistent and go every day. You have to have belief it's going to work, and you have to commit to yourself. Notice how all of them go hand in hand, right? The last thing that I'm going to speak about is to have fun. Have fun while you commit to yourself. Now, this is going to be hard. To have fun is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Why? Because this is something that we have to develop as a human being that will put us in a bucket of lack of awareness. I'm telling you, it's going to take time, because it's taking me 23 years to figure out how to have fun while I'm going along the process. But come to think about, while I was in high school playing football, when I was around my family, when I was around my teammates, when I was around my teammates and we was going through the process, we made the fun through the sourness, through the hard times, through the days when we was running bleachers. We made the best out of the opportunities that we had. In order to have fun, you have to be committed to yourself. In order to be committed to yourself, you have to have belief. In order to have belief, you have to be persistent along the journey. When you have fun, you're recognizing what you're doing and why you're doing it. So now you make fun of the situation instead of dwelling in it, right? Days was hard. Days was hard in practice. They were hard, difficult in practice, because it was something that we had to do every single day. Being persistent is not easy. Please don't get it wrong. Being persistent is not easy because you got to do it every single day. It becomes redundant. It becomes it's repeated. It's like you're a robot and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again because you already know what's going to happen. You already know. So why try to put two and two together? You already know, right? It becomes redundant. Being persistent becomes redundant, but it becomes more valuable over time. So how do you have fun if you're steady doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? I'm learning that. Here's what I've learned. Here's what I came to the conclusion with. You make the best of the situations that you're in now. To have fun is to recognize. To have fun is to grow. Is to have fun. To have fun is to be around people that understand what you're going through. You are never alone, but once you understand the commitment that you're making for yourself, why not have fun when days are hard? And by days are hard, I'm talking about, if you go back to high school, 11th grade, 9th through 12th grade. Conditioning, running up the bleachers, running on the field, running sideline to sideline, running end zone to end zone, tackling, getting hit, running, lifting weights, talking, getting lectured. It's a lot. It is a lot. But if I didn't learn how to have fun with my teammates and celebrate every play and then focus on the next play, it would have been difficult. Because this is something that we're working towards every day. And we understand what it takes to get to where we are today. So why not celebrate? Why not enjoy the moment? Why not enjoy the play? Why not enjoy the celebration? Because in order to have fun, we're reminiscing on the past experience that we just went through. Our past life, our past month, our past practices. Everything that already passed and came, we're celebrating because we remember the hard days. When you have fun, you're recognizing how far you came. And now you can say, I really enjoy this because I'm not by myself. I'm with my teammates. I'm with the coaches. I'm here playing and doing something I love to do. Every time I stepped on the field, I had fun because I knew I was surrounded by people that understood me. When you have fun, sometimes you gotta commit to yourself in order to identify what type of fun you can have. But we can't identify that if we don't put the time in it. If we're not persistent, if we don't have belief, nor if we commit to ourselves. Having fun is down the line. But once you identify the type of fun you can have, that's when the pain becomes more enjoyable. It's going to still be pain regardless of the fact, but it's going to be more enjoyable because of the end, because of the end goal and what you're able to accomplish. Life is what we created to be, but until we understand the life we want or desire, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be frustrated. It's going to be tiresome. But the best thing to do is to commit to yourself while you believe in yourself, understand persistence, and to have fun. If you got value from this, please hit the subscribe button down below so you can catch all new videos here to come soon.